You know how it is. You've heard that there's a fire in a building in your neighborhood and you're on high alert. You have your personnel constantly patrolling your building to make sure that no fire goes unspotted. And then, when fire actually happens in your building, your personnel rush for the fire extinguisher only to find that it's a 60-year-old equipment that is known as the Flying Coffin. Oh well. It's hard to talk about an issue like India versus Pakistan at this point of time without becoming overly political, dramatic, and having lights flash all over me, but I'm going to try. Let's start with what we do know for sure. 2 weeks back, on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 40 Indian soldiers were killed by a suicide bomber. Responsibility for this attack was claimed by a group called Jaish-e-Mohammad. I'm using the word claimed because it has often happened that a terrorist organization has claimed responsibility and then it later turns out that they had nothing to do with this. In fact, the entire first season of a fictional TV show called Designated Survivor is about a terrorist organization which claimed responsibility for blowing up the White House, and then it later turned out that they had nothing to do with it, and an organization inside the White House was seeking to politicize this to take control of the government. Yesterday, 4 F-16s attacked an Indian military base. 2 of our flights, the aforementioned MiG-21, responded, and one of our flyers was captured and is a captive right now in Pakistan. This again we know. I am discounting completely this entire surgical strike 2.0 that the Indian government is claiming that we may or may not have carried out, and which resulted in the deaths of 350 JEM operatives at Balakot, because Pakistan is completely denying it and we have yet to see any concrete proof of the same. Now, let's call out some people for responsibility. The media. Guys, have you ever heard of sensitivity? First, you air old footage of Indian airstrikes against Pakistan and try to pass it off as surgical strike 2.0. Second, you badger every Indian sort of government official into making false statements and then pass it off to the Indian public as government sources. Third, this morning you disclose the name of the wife and kid of Abhinandan Vardhaman despite him repeatedly denying that he will give that information on video. Whose job are you trying to do for them? Let's talk about the government next. I'm not suggesting for an instant that they engineered this death of 40 Indian soldiers, but I am saying that they are guilty of election mongering. Not everything is a political agenda for you to get yourself elected. I don't want people going up on camera talking about let's make war, let's fight back, let's retaliate, Indian military is supreme, we will show them. That is not done. The Geneva Convention will dictate how Abhinandan Vardhaman is treated and that he is treated fairly, and we hope and pray that he is returned to his family. I can only imagine how they must be feeling at this point of time. In the meantime, however, join me and everybody else on this earth in telling India and its government to de-escalate, to think about it. I know it's fancy to talk about giving a response and making war at the flick of a button, but you know and I know how many lives will be lost, how many families will be torn asunder if we go into war. You know that this nation was built by a prudent man, and that prudence knows that life is valuable because life is short-lived.